Hey Food Slayers, it's Michelle here from foodslaying.com, and it is the end of season 3. Yesterday, because I'm a little behind on videos because it's so busy, it's getting cold, it's so cold here. Yesterday I released the season finale. If you haven't listened to it yet, head over to foodslaying.com and check it out, because we're talking about rising food prices and food shortages with commodities like things that we eat all the time, staples like rice, wheat, corn. There was this huge story this week about supermarkets don't have canned corn on the shelves, which, they're blaming on the pandemic. They're saying, oh, well, it's COVID-19, because everybody purchased corn, this spring. So, oh my gosh, we don't have any corn on the shelves, which, I had to really dig into that. I wasn't sure that I believed that was true. And interestingly enough, I found some information to support that it may not be true, that it's not just the pandemic. In fact, there's lots of things that contribute to the food shortages that we're not only experiencing around the world right now, but are also part of the reason why countries around the world are starting to stockpile food. So there's that. But one of the most compelling things that I found, if you don't know the Ice Age Farmer, you should go check out his channel, because he did a couple of really interesting videos about how the sun, the sun, or the time, or the length of the sun, let me get it right. The length of the sun during the growing days is shortening. And that's pretty compelling, because it's not just the first year that we're experiencing food shortages when it comes to corn and wheat and soy and lots of other, commodities that we consume, but we're really feeling it this year because of the pandemic. That's one reason, but because of also the growing days are getting shorter, extreme weather events are playing a part, and there's this thing called prevent planting, which I hadn't heard of before, because the real loser in this whole conundrum this year are the farmers. And I have to give a shout out to farmers everywhere, because farming it's a hard job. It's hard to farm. It's hard to grow food for a lot of people. And there are a lot of factors involved in growing food on a schedule, for a season. And a lot of farmers, especially in the United States, in the Midwest, were prevented from planting millions of acres of corn in 2019. So that's part of the reason why we're not seeing enough corn in 2020. But the thing that I explore in this week's podcast, in the season finale, is why? What's the impact that's going to have on us? Because corn, as you know, if you didn't listen to my episode on corn in season 2, corn is everywhere. It's responsible for a lot of the things that we eat. It's responsible for, it's an additive to our gasoline. It is in our food products, up and down. There's subsidies. You should listen to the episode, because I cover all of that in there. And I'll leave that link down there too. But it's just compelling about what's happening right now, because it doesn't really matter who's president if you don't have food on your plate. If you don't have food on your plate, if we're going to experience food shortages, which a lot of people are predicting, with the expectation of more lockdowns this fall, with the pandemic still, we're not out of the weeds on that yet. But if we are going to be locked down, restaurants are going to be locked down, commercial food, industry is going to be locked down, what in the world can we expect, right? Countries, China, Egypt, Jordan, they're all starting to stockpile grains. Australia is running out of rice. We haven't seen, flour on the shelves in most of the summer. It's been really hard to get flour. So it's just interesting what's happening. And I encourage you to listen to this week's episode, because, I'm just asking a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions, and that's why I'm doing this podcast. So head on over to foodslaying.com, listen to the season finale, and you know what? I throw the question out to you. What do you think is happening? We're seeing a shortage of canned corn, but of course that's not the only thing that we eat. We've already seen a shortage in meat. We're paying more for food all year. All year we're paying consistently more this year than we've paid last year or the year before that. So, what do you think? Leave your comment down below so that we can continue this conversation, because it really is curious to me that we can not be talking about this. We should be talking about food shortages, and the rising prices of food, because we need food several times a day. So it's curious to me why we're not talking about it more, why we're not talking about our farmers more and supporting them, supporting local businesses, building resilience in our local community with local sources of food. All of that is so important. So head on over to foodslane.com, check out this episode, and let me know what you want to hear about next season. Taking requests, so ping me on the socials, subscribe to this channel because it really helps me out, share the video with a friend. You can sign up for my newsletter on foodslane.com to get exclusive podcast updates, and of course I appreciate your listening support. So with that, tune in for season 4 starting in November. So until then, happy Halloween, happy Election Day. I hope the president that you want to be in office wins. Okay, so till the next time, eat clean, eat healthy, and love your food, and I'll see you on the other side of the plate. Ciao.